T-shirt.
Oh, I lost you for
You
a
there?
second there, brother.
Oh, jeez. I was just going to say you got the right invite for the right color T-shirt.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I think you've got a black. I've got a navy on, mate. Maybe it's because you don't have your glasses on.
Funny you say that. Is it actually navy? Oh shit, I can't see it properly. No, is it actually?
It is, mate. It is. I'll let you off.
No, I've actually asked my wife to try and see if she can try and find my glasses because I actually don't. I somehow last night lost a flipping earbud on one ear and my glasses. So I've like been going around anyway. I basically can't see shit, but at least I'm here.
I can tell.
It's flipping useless. Okay, so you've actually got a navy shirt, not a black shirt. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
For those who aren't aware, you started off. No, did it start off as Auckland Labour Hire 4 years ago? Was it 4 years ago?
Oh, in August will be the fourth birthday.
Fourth
Um,
birthday. Yeah, I figured it was
yeah,
about that.
no, started
Um,
off at Auckland as Auckland Labour Hire Limited. Yep.
yeah, and then now under ALH. ALH.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep. Bit of a change, but
I think I gave you the idea last time. I was like, you just change to Aotearoa Labour Hire, you roll out nationally, gets big mega, just buy me some beers for the IP, it's totally fine. For those who aren't, maybe we'll start here. On day one, you're at zero. How big is the company now?
right now is obviously a bit of a difference.
Okay,
But
let's say on
pre-COVID,
April pre-COVID. There we go.
pre-COVID, we were sitting at kind of, oh, it fluctuates really. Leading up to Christmas last year, we were kind of tapping in at 100 and anywhere from 120 to 140. Kind of coming in to the restart up into the new year, we're kind of hitting around that 100, 110s. So starting to get some legs, but then obviously this happened. So, it is what it is. It's just how we navigate ourselves out of it to make sure we slingshot and really keep gunning towards what we want to be, and that's the market leaders.
We've talked about this before when we've been yarning around, the challenges of you being a young buck in the game and having 100 staff and a bunch of them are older than you and just how you sort of navigate that whole energy piece. How's your leadership style and what have you learned about you as a leader through this period? Because I'm sure it's probably been quite a bit.
Yeah, my leadership, I think, is ever changing, and if I'm at the mindset where it's my way or the highway, then I'm definitely going to lose, and we're not going to get to the targets we want to. It's about being agile and constantly trying to challenge myself to be a better leader, and then challenging people around me within ALH, all of my colleagues here to keep doing the same. So I think that at the forefront of this is how can we communicate to the most proactive way possible to let everyone know exactly where we are, so there's no build-up of anxiety, no question marks. So kind of saturating any form of communication stream we can to make sure that everyone knows exactly where we are and what we're doing. That's from internally to on-site's kind of been a big focus and push.
Over communication or levels, have you found it easier or harder that you've all been remote, or are you doing like how are you? What's your comms plan actually kind of been like? How are you heading across all of it? Because I'm imagining logistically everyone's everywhere. There's probably a whole bunch of uncertainty. How do you sort of think about the game plan of comms coming into this?
Well, the comms kind of had to start, I guess, from me in terms of what we wanted to do internally, structure-wise, and our main focus always was from the very second, no one internally. We don't want to lose anyone internally. We've got great talent. We've got a huge amount of potential that we want to hang on to. So I had to navigate the best kind of plan out of this, and let's look at it not just from month to month, but actually kind of let's reestablish a strategy for the next 12 months, and then that's probably what we're going to click go on to then try and get back to normal later on. But communicating from that point and working right up late nights and whatnot to get to that, to then communicate it to everyone in the office, for then everyone in the office to go and communicate it down to everyone working in their division. On what we kind of see as a company, you got mate with it. You got people asking, "Oh, what are we shutting down? Is the company going to go under?" It's you get every single question. So it's just about trying to preempt that and make sure everyone knows where we sit, our intentions, and where we want to go, and that hasn't really changed. If anything, probably got me a little bit more excited for the opportunity that's going to come of it. So.
Yeah, it's going to perfect sort of segue. So this happens. We go into L4 shutdown. Literally everything goes to zero. Did you lock yourself away and rethink? Did you have like planned strat time on how to do it? Like, how did you approach the strategy of changing the business, or what were you going to have to do to actually attack the market to build it out? Talk me through the strategic thinking of how you kind of approached all that to reset the whole business through COVID.
Well, I've got awesome networks around me. Really, really great. I call it my infrastructure on my mentors and things. So to be able to bounce ideas off them as quickly as I could, to then get their advice, to then interpret that into a clear strategy, was probably 72 hours. So
Jeez.
from the time we were aware of what we're doing, to me proposing some scenarios to shareholders and to get their advice on it was rapid. And then we knew exactly where we sat. Everyone knew how we were going to operate at a minimum for those next 12 weeks, and what was going to be really, really important for us. So within 72 hours, we'd batten down the hatches, cut what we needed to in terms of operational cost, communicated clearly, and then just pin the ears back and keep going for it, really.
A lot of businesses got caught off. Bigger businesses have certain protocols in place. Obviously, they probably hadn't had to go before, but they kind of have plans in place of, hey, if this happens, we need to do boom, boom, boom. They've kind of got a bit of a rollout. The majority of small businesses in one hit had a huge weight of strategic calls they had to make with staffing and money and cash flow and rents and product and logistics and just flipping everything.
Mm-hmm.
From the people that you were talking to in sort of your circles, what was the headspace of other business owners that you talked to, and then employees and people that were employed? What was the initial sort of headspace? Was it more offense, let's flip and giddy up and go for the future? Or was it defense, holy shit? Where was the headspace at, and how do you think it's changed over the last 6 weeks?
So I try not to talk to hardly anyone else who owns businesses, right? So I'm like, if I'm gonna, if I listen to predominantly one voice, and then I'll have some other people who I'll listen to.
You listen to Rob. Just listen to Rob.
Yeah, listen to Rob, and
stay here, do that. Don't do anything else.
We've got the likes of Nathan McCullum, who can come in from a bit of a different point of view. Your boy, and Sarah as well. She's been phenomenal help. And then got some other information here or there. But yeah, so it was just kind of the initial thing was the holy shit, we're going into this. I think the thing that I actually found it super exciting. I was kind of like, this is a really awesome chance to be a young leader and navigate our team out of it. So opposed to starting down, I probably got more adrenaline than I had in a long time. Much to my girlfriend's disgust, I just tunnel vision probably 72 hours of madness and just went for it. Anyone who I work with in here across both kind of businesses will be the first to say that I get super excited for spreadsheets and running numbers to know exactly where we are. So yeah, it was initially, so to answer your question, it was holy shit. Secondly, it was like, awesome, there's a whole lot of opportunity. How can we slingshot out of this, and then become market leaders? Because in the nicest way possible, people who there's going to be people for, right? And that's going to give us more opportunity in the market to go and steal further market share than what we have done. And like I said, I was really, really excited in the most, ethical way possible to be given an opportunity at 25 to have people who I guess kind of trust in my ability to navigate us out of it.
I knew your answer was offense. What I'm trying to figure out is how many others in your crew were on offense the same way. Do you actually, I'll ask this. You're 25 and running, you're 25 now, right? 25?
26 this year, mate. Yeah, 25 at the moment, but I'm getting on.
Yeah. Okay, bro. So you're 25. um, how many other young leaders do you know that are in your world that are on the same wavelength of offense like you?
Um, Again, my circle and comms with other people are super small. I've got a friend who's not necessarily in business. Probably not Liam. I've had a bit to do with
Yep.
Liam alone. Dude, he doesn't have a business, but he's super offensive. He's a high energy. He's like,
He
he
goes
just
hard, dude.
but it's cool. It's been cool, kind of just speaking to people like that. But no, I haven't necessarily spoken to kind of any market leaders. I spoke to Craig from Halter the other day.
Yeah, he's a champ. Yep.
He's a champ, but that was a brief conversation, but it was pretty similar. It was kind of like, let's not worry about now. Let's kind of see what's coming, and that's the
Mm.
exciting thing. So, yeah, my communication with people my age outside of the organisations I'm in is very minimal. But everyone in our office right now is all on the same path.
Yep.
That's from Ash, who's running our office, to all the guys out running accounts. Just bang, let's go for it, kind of thing.
How do you see this playing out? How do you see the sector playing out over the next 6 to 12 months?
Oh, how long is a piece of string? It's a perfect saying. I'm not too sure. I think off hearing kind of what we are about, how can we get some contact tracing software and things developed and whatnot. That's probably going to be the deciding factor of when we get back to kind of 100% capacity of engagement from our clients. So I'm not too sure. I probably haven't sunk too much of my time into that. My time probably come more around what does our internal capacity look like
Hmm.
upon increased capacity in the market.
Yeah. Did your targets, you talked about targets before, did they shift dramatically with what you thought the future opportunity could be, or did the strategies kind of stay the same but just got accelerated through this?
Um, our end goal and my end target has obviously pushed out a little bit, but in terms of kind of, I guess if it's strategy or opportunity in the market, we're learning something new about it every day. So not much has changed. We're going to go down a bit of a different angle in what services we provide, but we're always going to do that. So
Hmm.
as of right now, we're not necessarily jumping at anything new right now, but we're agile as anything too. If it comes available, we'd love hanging out for anything like that that pops up.
Yeah, clearly on offense. It's a you're a positive dude. You're driven as shit. You're focused as all anything. Throughout this time, what's been your biggest fear in your head around either your business? Let's go. Your business, the sector, New Zealand.
I guess fear. Um, I'm like a hyper competitive person, so
No,
I
you
fear that
don't.
I fear that I can't win in what I wanted to win in.
Yeah.
In terms of hitting targets. So I guess the fear of losing, but losing in my own
Yeah.
internal game hurts, right? It hurts. So that's that fear. Fear in the market. Look, I'm probably not educated enough to the big projected forecasts in terms of analyzing it. I think we will get back up to scale, but I just don't know when.
Mm,
But I guess the fear for New Zealand, I guess the fear for the market is that it doesn't recover. I
mm,
don't see that being a problem, but I think the fear for New Zealand is that um, we have a repeat kind of influx of COVID, really, because we don't get on top of it in this first kind of instance. So that would be
mm.
the three fears for you.
It's always a tough balance, right? Like personally, you've got this that competitive drive against regret, and future trends, the future like frustration to yourself to what could be when you yeah, even just the whole, where's the headspace of the employees right now, like of those that are working, because I imagine they get paid by the hour, or is that how it all works?
Yeah.
Where's all the headspace of the employees at, from not just your business but in the sector? Are they are some looking to take up different opportunities elsewhere if they don't think it will recover as fast, or do they think they're going to have to double down because there's going to be more shit to do because no one's, essentially, if there's been work orders or whatever, they're now 6 weeks, 8 weeks behind, right? So there's probably a bit of influx of holy shit, we need to get this stuff done.
Yeah.
What's the vibe from an employee side?
From our on-site team at ALH, it's a mixed signal. You've got the majority of people want to be out working, and kind of securing employment whilst it's, this is going to come in three waves, right? We had our pre-COVID hit, we'll have our post-wage subsidy hit, and then I think probably later in the year we'll have another big hit when the recession, I guess, really comes around. So you've got some people who are future thinking, and I think every company's going to have people who are probably wanting to put their feet up and have a bit of a cigar at the moment because they think that that's what's best, with the subsidy. So there's no in between, right? We've got people who are keen, eager, and ready to go. We've got the other case. So that's our on-site team. In the fit out gig, we've got Aidan and Brett who run that, and they are just gunning for it. It's really impressive, like how Aidan's leading that team, and Brett doing Nexum as well. And there's just been no let up whatsoever there. It's kind of like you walk into that office, it's like, whew, all right, cool, this is how it is. So it's awesome. So I guess that's what it is from an on team with ALH, and then it's kind of, that's kind of what it's like over the other side.
What changes does it mean specifically when the business goes from L3 to L2? Have you looked into the nuts and bolts of like how specifically things will work? Like I know in some other industries they're talking about, do we do split shifts with staffing so they can get spaced out a bit better? And certain other things, do they do different distancing or whatever? Obviously within your world, how does that actually manifest in the real world after we go from L3 to L2?
So being that we supply a service, we don't actually have, like, that's not our site to people who we're allocating to, if that makes sense. So we have to go in and abide under their kind of systems and processes that they have in place, but we need to do everything we can to the best of our ability before we get there. So the return to work forms, the tracing to the best we can, the PPE, we're just ramping that up as much as we can. But what it looks like, it's ever changing. We're just going to be as on the ball and proactive with whatever we can do across PPE, across sanitizing, cleaning. How shifts will work on site when that transition happens, we'll know more when our Prime Minister announces that. But internally, depending on our capacity, we'll probably do some form of split shifts where it's XYZ come in Monday to Wednesday, and then the other team comes on Wednesday to Friday, just so we've got people manning the office.
Has there been any talk of how tech can help empower better data or customer experience through tracing and tracking and logging and whatever? Like, where has technology started to talk about or played in what could happen within your industry?
There's been a couple of things that have come available, and doing your research, there's all sorts. You can do your Bluetooth tracking, you can do this. There's a whole lot of range of things, but from where we sit, and from where I sit, I want to see what the government implements, because there's no point going and allocating financial resource to a software if you're paying a premium when the government's going to come and bring one in for a buck, and that's going to give us all the relevant information, and more that we need, and that's our standard.
So have you got different scenario planned out of if they if this then that type scenario? Is that where your headspace is gone? If they allow this is what you do. And because a lot of what I've sort of at the end of this, we'll just get back to it. It's all good. But actually, tactically, okay, at L3, we can do this. This is where we can get revenue. At L2, we can do this. These are some of the different ways. And actually have different business sort of strategies or plans for each different one. Like, how weird did you go in the matrix of shoulda, coulda, woulda, if this, then that type thinking have you gone through?
So whatever I do on a business aspect level, I always have a non-functional, functional, and an optimal scenario. For the first time, I've gone out of the fourth. So, which is almost like a COVID scenario, right? But yeah, it's pretty matrixy. It's super detailed. And
like how big did the web go? Like when you worked out, did you get a? I'm curious how people like decode their crazy.
Nearly a kilometer of linear meters in spreadsheets.
That's what the answer I wanted to know. Okay, so you started going down the rabbit holes, copying and pasting the different tabs. If this, then that. Rename them at the bottom. Share it with the group. Okay, so how did you talk me through how your brain worked that through? I'm just intrigued with how you got dissected the crazy.
So I'm like really unacademic. Like when it comes to being told to do something this way, I can't do it. My brain just goes, nope, shut down. So I probably take a little bit longer to come up with these things, but I try and do it at night time so it doesn't top into my operational day. But I'll start with one row and then I'll just keep refining it. And I was locked in here the other day with Nashi, who's just started up a new division within the company, and we kind of got right into it, and you kind of see he was like, oh, here goes Izzy again on this little spreadsheet trace. But no, like I just kind of went against our scenarios, looked at what our capacity looks like, and I guess multiplied it accordingly, and then just proposed another couple of scenarios. So everyone in our business right now knows exactly what's expected of them. And individually, kind of as we're moving forward. So it's not like, oh, I'll come in and do this and that'll be all right. This is what a right is. This is what not a right is. And this is what we're leading the market is.
But that's awesome, right? Because if there's unknown with any of this or stuff and it's like shit that creates fear, doubt, plus seeds of just shit that shouldn't be in the head, opposed to, hey, if this happens, this is our textbook, giddy up, go. If this happens, we're going to roll this out, giddy up, go. And it's just it feels more comforting, and that more of the bandwidth is actually, and the energy is going to go into the things that matter instead of freaking out of the shit that don't.
Well, put that into perspective. If I come into the office and I say to everyone, right, because as you know, I'm probably relatively high energy, so I'm kind of go. If I walk into the office and I'm like, we're going to do 8 million in revenue this year, and everyone's like, huh? How? But so my whole goal is I'll break every week down in our year to revenue, to cost, to everything. So I'm just trying to be super analytical and give as much data and information as possible, because that's how it works and that's how I've best learned. And just breaking down, starting from the start and going from there is always the best thing to do. And even look at this whole COVID thing. The more data we get, the easier it makes it for everyone to understand. So it's no difference when you're trying to implement a strategy.
Did you, when you started this 4 years ago, coming up on, I think, August, you were saying, did you feel that the company would be as big and as successful as it was now? In your head, did you see this is the path of where you knew it would get to? Where does it sit in your head, and does it kind of freak you out that you're doing this cool shit at 25?
Initially, I had no idea, because I'd failed university, and Messi had told me that I had to go on academic leave, right? Like I wasn't allowed to go back to uni because I'd failed so many papers. So I was a little bit crushed, but I just knew that I had a work rate in my locker, and if I could find something that I was passionate about, I could really gun it. Touching on doing something cool at 25, I always look back and I think, you know what, if I was a little bit sharper here and I was a little bit more decisive or aggressive, I could be in a better place. So that's kind of where I think, opposed to thinking, yeah, we're happy here. It's kind of like, yeah, but I could have. So make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas can How have you navigated to keep your self awareness extremely high at an age so young?
Sorry, say that again, mate. I lost you just for a second there.
I was going to say, how have you managed to keep your self awareness so high as your age has been so young?
I think I had to grow up pretty quickly. Like
Mm,
being a young fella, obviously lost my dad to kind of suicide, and then I've had my heart problems. So that organically grows you up and makes you aware to a lot more things than probably what you would have wanted to at that age. Um, but yeah, I think I, I consider myself really blessed to have the people around me that I have who have kind of helped guide me into getting my first taste of something. And then that hunger just grew and grew and grew. And that just kind of created a real passion to wanting to make myself as aware of in any scenario as I can and seeing realistically what success looks like for me.
mm.
And that's been the important thing.
Do you think if you had a perfect upbringing with no gnarly shit or bad shit happen, that you'd be where you are now? Do you think you'd be stronger or weaker?
I'd I'd be way weaker. Like, you got
Yeah.
to go through it. If I could change it, if I could change anything, I wouldn't. Um, by any means. And I think the only thing that I would change is, you see some kids growing up and doing it a bit better than what you are, and you're like, God, like bastard. But then I guess kind of where I've come from and what I've come from has been the big part really. So
Yeah, the see, I think of it the way of the gnarlier it was for me, the more the lower I know I can go and come back. And
yeah,
so when I know that challenges hit other people that are trying to come against me or a competition or whatever, I know that I can keep going gnarlier and
mm,
gnarlier and worse and worse and worse because I've already been there, but I know you haven't
yeah,
because I know you haven't, I then mentally think that you're weak
yeah.
because I know that I'll beat you. I was like, no, okay, cool, bro, cool. Is that it's
Yeah.
competitive in both of us, right? But you're the same way. I can tell.
And that's what I love. Like I think it's different for me right now. I'm sure half of New Zealand have watched that Michael Jordan clip on Netflix. It's like
Bro,
hi guy, like
yes.
we can't. I can't turn up to an athletic track and say I'm going to outwork and run for longer than an athlete because I probably can't. But I think my confidence lies significantly in how much I can output when I need to and when I want to, and I always want to. So I kind of get a little bit anxious and a little bit edgy if I'm sitting around doing not much at all. Um,
Yep.
but yeah, like you said, going back to kind of that upbringing, you know, the first little bit off top, but the first thing that I kind of going back to the question about did I think I was going to be successful? I remember walking to church on a Sunday, and it was probably the first thing that ever made me think that, I want to be successful. I was walking to church with my family. We'd go to church 3 times a week. We're really Christian, brought up really strong Christian family. And I just heard this absolute rocket ship come past me. And I was like, what is this? And
Spyro Rex.
well, that's what I thought. And I turned around and I was like, whoa, what is that? And Dad was like, that's a Porsche. And I was like,
Ooh.
what's a Porsche? And he goes, it would take me 10 years to earn one of those on my caretaker salary. And I was like, I need to get one of those one day. I ain't being a caretaker dad. So, but yeah, like it's little things like that that you remember, like going back to kind of, I guess, the upbringing thing. You get little things like that where some people wake up and they hear that noise in the garage every day. But you've got to have little things that kind of motivate you.
Yep, I get it. I used to go to my friend Ollie's house, and his mum would let us put cheese on CC chips in the
Yeah,
microwave, and I'd go over because I knew they had the cheese. I was like, oh, mean, they got cheese. Roll over for the cheese,
yeah,
and it's like now you think about it, and you're like, oh, cheese. But yeah, I think it's important. I think those things are good. So if you were talking to a bunch of young buck leaders that are maybe not, maybe they're starting businesses. There you go. They're 18 to 21, coming out of high school, maybe didn't go to uni, or maybe in uni looking to start it. Um, what's something that you definitely feel like you should do this.
I I lost you for a second there. I'll get you to repeat that.
Oh, sorry, bro. I was just saying, if you were giving advice to like an 18 to 21-year-old that was looking to start their own sort of business, what is the one thing they should definitely do?
Something just go for it. Just absolutely go for it and not listen to people who are going to be negative. And instead of, if you do hear negatives, make it something that's going to be a result of something positive. I remember when I went for it, and you kind of, when you start something, you're a bit anxious to tell anyone. I remember the first person I told was my sister. And she said to me, "Oh, well, if it's anyone who can put their mind to something and achieve it, that's you." And that's what I needed to hear. But then a year later, I heard from someone. I said, this is what I want to do, and this is where I want it to be, and I've got the right people helping me. He said to me, "You know what, Izzy? I don't think you'll ever run a big business, but running small ones are fine." And I was like, and
Okay.
and I
You're like,
know,
okay,
I
okay.
know for a fact what we're involved in right now with the two businesses bigger than him. So it's kind of like you've got to have those things that just really keep motivating you, and I'll
But
hang on to that for the rest of my
I
life.
know, I could tell the second they're like, oh, you can't do that. You're like, all right, cool, bro. Cool, cool,
Yeah,
cool. And then you'll just go, and then it just sits. So you're like, mine was, my careers advisor said, Robett, when you grow up, you could work in a warehouse packing boxes. That's what I was told. And, 15 out of Nui on the benefit, yada, 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 a bunch of bad shit. And failed high school, continued, like I was that token, that was my ceiling. And I kept it for 15 years, dude. Like literally, I was just like, cool, you don't, okay, okay. And
yeah,
it's that Michael Jordan thing. It just gets in your head and you're like, no, I'm going to steamroll this shit. Watch me. All right, cool. Watch me.
yeah.
All right, all right. And then, but you don't really tell anyone. It's just your own little brain game that you play against yourself.
And the people I have made aware of it, it's almost like it comes up every few months, and they're kind of like, "Yeah, remember talking about that? Screw that guy, man." But thanks in a way.
Or what you do is you put the number of where, like you put a number up of where he's at, where you're at, and
Yeah,
but you don't give context, but you just put it there, and so no one knows what it means, but you do. You're like, all right,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
those little things. So where to from here? What is your next six? What is your next between now and Christmas? What does your world look like?
It, if right now, if I was to project that, it just looks like a whole lot of hard work, and a whole lot of commitment to coming out of this and presenting ourselves as the market leader, really, or definitely fast tracking it and pouncing on the opportunity to really get up there. So you've got a couple of our competitors or people within the market who are making redundancies and stuff like that. We think it's super important that we hang on to who we have, so everyone can be a part of something special. And there's probably no better time to I guess load up the guns and start firing. So a whole lot of hard work, preparation, strategy, super clear with communicating and detailing that, and absolutely going for it, and then getting by the boys and behind the boys and fit out and supporting them in any way I can. They're seriously impressive guys. Those two boys, Aiden and Brett. What they're achieving is incredible, and it's really cool to be a part of it. So
You forgot your 18-hour sessions on your spreadsheets, mate. You forgot the spreadsheet scenario planning with
that,
your rows.
that's part of it.
So do you plug up your like laptop through HDMI into the big screen and just talk people through it? You're like, all right, oh yo, and this here, like, do you just get super frothy? Like,
I get way too frothy, and when like you're talking or you're telling a joke and you can tell someone's lost interest. I can identify that, but I just keep going because we've got a 62-inch TV the other day in our boardroom, and I got the spreadsheets on there, and I instantly was like, oh my god, send all these people these Snapchats. I'm in heaven right now. I got 62 inches of spreadsheets.
it's so sick. It's so sick. But the thing is, you got a system, and you know how you can get into like flow state with where you can optimize your thinking and the best. Like that's the It's awesome, bro. It's
And
100%. I'm gonna be like a whiskey and whiteboard sessions.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. And the thing is, it's like, there might be, if I produce 100 row spreadsheet, which goes on for days, there might only be 4 rows of data which is relevant to our team, but at least I've got full transparency across everything. And I think that's really important. So what I see is what they see.
you're just trying to justify doing ridiculously massive spreadsheets, bro. You just, even if they're not like, you should put into your board meetings, you'd be like spreadsheet time, spreadsheet show and tell. Just as he just goes like, you're going to get one of those like little Microsoft board things, and they can fully move around and zigzag it up and shit, so you can write on top of it.
Mate, if the team get any inkling or listen to this, then they'll start with themselves about talking about spreadsheets because they know how much I bloody love it.
I love your work, brother. Always, it's awesome seeing the growth momentum. Obviously, we've been boysies for a little bit. It's just rad seeing the. I think when you've got these key traits of how you roll and what you're about, it doesn't slow down. It just gets faster,
Mm.
and it just gets more. It gets more. It's not aggressive, but it's more confidence, right? It's like confidence in, you know, where you sit in this place, and you know what you can do, and you know what you can execute against, and you know what like. It's more. It feels like it builds more of your confidence for it, and it's pretty rad, man. Obviously, you started as 4 years ago, 21. Now you're rolling. You've got a super tight circle around you. So, props to you, bro. I'm super proud, bro. It's awesome to see the momentum, and, mate. This gong show financially for the New Zealand's going to be years, but even if it takes 5, you wake up at 30, and then you're exactly where you can get to, and you've got the energy to do it. So, props to you, man. I'm super proud. It's awesome,
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, really appreciate it.
my man. All right, stay out of trouble, bro. I'll talk to you soon, eh?
Always see you, brother.
Later, Izzy. Later, bro. Peace. The bro, Izzy Whitley, young buck, ALH, labour hire, Auckland labour hire. I think it's going to be Aotearoa labour hire by the sounds of the expenditure. Do some stuff in Queenstown and the rest of it. If you follow them on LinkedIn, you'll get to see a whole bunch of the culture that they actually integrate within their businesses, with the way they do a lot of their staffing, engagement, comms, and you can really tell there's definitely a community vibe that's driven through care, and genuinely, we know when they're saying, the boss smashing out all this sort of big stuff as well. It's cool, especially from a young leader that's got a lot of people that are older that work from that dynamic's not many. But when I asked him about, how many people that are sort of his age that are rolling what he does, there pretty much is almost zero in his lane at his age doing what he's doing, surrounded by what he's up to. But he's just focused on his craft. So props to Izzy, mega. Hope you enjoy the rest of the day. And yeah, this thing's going to be a marathon. So let's giddy up for the long game. See you soon, team. Peace.